You can't lead others until you can lead yourself. You can't lead yourself until you know yourself. That's the heart of self awareness, and it's the first, most essential pillar of emotional intelligence. I'm Kevin Brunner, a team leader in the chemistry industry, and I'm here to help you lead with more clarity, confidence, and connection. Welcome back. In my last video, I gave you details why emotional intelligence matters and an overview of what it entails. Today, we're diving deep into how self awareness can transform your leadership, how to actually build it, how to use it to make better decisions, build trust, and create a culture people want to be a part of. Let's start with a simple truth. Your team experiences your emotional state more than they experience your technical skill. And if you're stressed, short tempered, or distracted, they feel it, whether you realize it or not. If you're calm, focused, and present, they feel that too. The tricky part, we often assume we know how we're coming across, but research says we're not as accurate as we think. In fact, a Harvard Business Review study found that while 95% of people believe they're self aware, only about 10 to 15% actually meet the criteria. That's a huge gap. And for leaders, that gap can be the difference between inspiring loyalty and driving people away. Self awareness gives you the ability to see yourself clearly, to notice your emotions as they're happening, to understand the patterns behind your reactions, to recognize how your behavior impacts others. Without it, you're flying blind. And with it, you're navigating with a clear map. Self awareness has two main dimensions. First, internal self awareness, knowing your values, strengths, weaknesses, emotional triggers, what drives you. Two, external self awareness, understanding how other people see you, your communication style, and your emotional presence. Both matter. If you only have internal self awareness, you might understand yourself, but you remain oblivious to how you affect others. If you only have external self awareness, you might manage your image, but lack authenticity. Great leaders develop both. Imagine you're leading a project, the deadline is tight, and a team member makes a mistake that sets things back. Internally, you feel frustration building. You're thinking, they should have caught this. Without self awareness, you might let that frustration leak out through a sharp tone, a dismissive comment, or even tense body language is enough for them to recognize that. With self awareness, you notice the emotion in real time. You recognize, I'm frustrated. But reacting now will only just shut them down. You take a breath. You choose your response. The difference? In the first scenario, you damage trust. In the second, you protect the relationship and keep the project moving forward. When you lead with self awareness, you model emotional control, openness, and humility. People trust leaders who are consistent, clear, and authentic. Your team can handle tough feedback if they know it's coming from a leader who understands themselves and isn't just lashing out impulsively. And here's something most leaders don't realize. When you openly acknowledge your blind spots, your mistakes, you gain credibility, not lose it. Self awareness creates psychological safety, the kind of environment where people feel free to speak up and share ideas and admit when they're wrong. This isn't about meditating for hours or writing in a journal all day. It's about creating small, repeatable habits that help you notice yourself in the moment. Here are 5 strategies to start. First, pause and name your emotions. Our brain processes emotions faster than conscious thought. By the time you realize you're angry, frustrated, or anxious, you've often already reacted. The fix: slow it down. When you feel a strong emotion, mentally name it. I'm feeling defensive. The simple act moves the activity from the emotional centers of the brain to the prefrontal cortex, where rational decision making happens. The more often you do this, the more you'll catch emotions before they dictate your actions. Second, ask for honest feedback. Self awareness isn't built in isolation. Ask your peers, team, or mentor, what's it like to work with me? What's one thing I could do to make your job easier? Where do I unintentionally create tension? Here's the key: listen without defending yourself. If you argue with feedback, you shut the door for future honesty. Third, review your day end each day by asking questions. What moments went well today? Why? When did I feel triggered? How did I respond? And what impact did it have? 5 minutes of reflection daily can create huge growth over time. What I like to do is when I notice I'm feeling triggered, I write a note about it. I write about the cause and the emotions I felt, and I write it on my phone when it's fresh in my mind. This leads well into my next suggestion. Fourth, notice your patterns. Pay attention to recurring emotional triggers. Maybe you get defensive when somebody challenges your idea in public. Maybe you rush decisions when you're feeling tired. Patterns are predictable, and predictable means manageable. Fifth, practice mindful listening. In conversations, notice your urge to interrupt or think ahead to your response. Instead, focus completely on the other person. Your emotional awareness will naturally expand when you fully tune into others. Self awareness isn't just about personal growth, it's a tool you can use to guide others. Here's how: in decision making, you can separate data from emotion and prevent bias from clouding judgment. In conflict, you can acknowledge your role in the tension and create a path to resolution faster. In communication, you can adapt your style to different personalities without losing authority. In culture building, you can create norms of openness and self reflection by modeling them yourself. I want to share a method I use to improve my self awareness. It also involves some self regulation, but I'll talk about it in this video. While working on my relationship skills, I came across a concept called holding space for somebody. I'll talk more about this in a video on empathy. To develop this, I incorporated it with my journaling. I write with two voices. First, the speaker, and then the listener, the voice holding space. When I write as the speaker, I try to start most sentences with I feel. It's important for me to tap into my emotional side. It's pretty similar to venting. At some point, I had switched to the listener voice. I read what I wrote before. It's important to read it. It can be a stack of emotions. Then I reiterate what I heard, what I understand, so that my speaker voice feels heard and seen. I do this back and forth such that I really lock into what emotions are going through me at that moment. Again, this can have a regulating effect, but what I notice the most is how much more I understand myself and my emotions. I'll focus on neuroscience and leadership in a future video, but this method is basically a conversation between your limbic system and prefrontal cortex. I've had several aha moments when exercising this method. I encourage you to try it very much. Let's clear up a few misconceptions. First, self awareness means being self critical. No, it's about being self honest. That includes acknowledging strengths, not just weaknesses. Second, it's something you either have or don't. This is false. It's a skill that you can build. Third, it slows you down. Initially, maybe, but in the long run, self awareness prevents costly mistakes and conflict. Today's workplaces are fast, complex, and emotionally charged. Your ability to stay centered, notice your impact, and adjust it in real time sets you apart. Technology, markets, and strategy change constantly, but human nature doesn't. And leadership is ultimately about humans. Self awareness keeps you from being the kind of leader who unintentionally creates fear, confusion, or resentment. If you want to start today, Choose one situation where you often feel triggered. Commit to noticing and naming the emotion the next time it happens. Ask for feedback from one trusted person this week. Small steps consistently applied will completely shift how you show up as a leader. You can't fix what you can't see, and you can't grow if you refuse to look. Self awareness isn't about being perfect, it's about being intentional. It's the discipline of noticing yourself and understanding your patterns and choosing how you show up. When you lead with that kind of clarity, you inspire trust, loyalty, and respect. And not because you have all the answers, but because you have the courage to see yourself. That's the leader people want to follow. And that's the leader you can be starting now. If this video helped you, give a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. What's one self awareness habit you want to try this week? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.